Check. So this is what this sounds like when I'm talking.
Doobie doobie doo. Space station's going by in like 2 minutes.
Oh, you tracking that?
Yep.
On the phone. Okay. Are we supposed to do something or like duck and cover, or is it going to report back on us to Putin?
It's happening right now. The elevation is 12.7. We're not going to see it.
Okay.
It's so low.
Shit.
It's hand solo.
All right.
Let's say hunker down.
Hunker down.
Hunker down, y'all.
Hunker down.
Hunker down.
Hunker down.
Hunker down.
Hunker down.
Hunker down.
Okay, so hey Lance, this is what we're gonna do. Just before we started the show, first of all, it's Freebird this week. It's me.
They'll
and you.
probably be able to tell by the music.
Right. So it's Bad Street, so it's Freebird, and we were just talking before we went on about Lance and his forward-thinking, or the burdens of being a forward-thinking entrepreneur. Am I interpreting this correctly? Is that what we're talking about, kind of?
I guess in the context, entrepreneur did not come into
No, you didn't use that word
at all.
But
which is, it's shitty that you twisted it into that slur. But no, I'm not an entrepreneur. I was talking about the burden of always having to be the visionary and the one with the plan and the one who has to execute the plan and such, particularly in personal relationships.
Okay. But also, yeah.
Don't call me no fucking entrepreneur.
Well, I just wanted to read something to you that came up today. That
okay.
This would have some resonance for you spiritually.
Some resonance?
Resonance.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out where we're going to. I mean, it's entrepreneurial in spirit. I mean, you'll see where I'm going with this anyway.
Right. I can hate on it at the end, though.
This is called Thoughts of Appreciation Gratitude.
Of appreciation, gratitude.
This is what it's
redundant.
titled. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. Much of it may not make sense to you, but just listen. And it says, as an entrepreneur, developer, and human, today I accept that part of myself that will never be satisfied, and I comfort and tame it. There is a place in me that knows that it will never know, but I am beginning to feel that to accept and love this side of myself is what also gives life beauty and meaning. Perhaps meaning is not knowing and understanding, but an acceptance of the mystery and embracing of the unknown. After all, it is that mystery that gives even the most ordinary circumstance an eternal sort of glow, a sense of depth, a feeling that there is more. I accept that I will never fully understand, I embrace the mystery. The soul is restless and furious. #blessed. #gratitude. #appreciation.
Sidney Torres wrote that?
Indeed.
Oh, how'd I know?
I don't know. Did you catch that earlier?
No, I called it just... I thought, did he announce his run for mayor after that?
No, you would think, right? Is there something big coming? No, you know what he did? He posted that on Facebook with a photograph of himself on an airplane sitting next to a dog.
The dog really knows what it's like to embrace the unknown.
Well,
the dog does not even realize he is flying through the air probably at 35,000 feet.
Well, what's great about this picture actually is if you get a look at it, it's Sidney, and he's got his feet up, his shoes up on the whatever this is in the plane, like his the drink holder or whatever, and he's got his shades on, and he's looking at the camera, and the dog is sitting to his right and is like hunched over him, and staring kind of blankly out the window.
Like George Bush surveying the damage after Katrina.
Right.
Well, when you're
and you put that with these deep thoughts,
actualized as Sidney, I'm sure is, with all of Maslow's hierarchy of needs pretty much taken care of, so much so that he decides to run for political office. Perhaps. Then, yeah, you can think about the unknown and be comforted by it as he was.
And knowing that he doesn't know.
That's the magic.
He has to. He's taking it as it comes, I guess.
I wonder what it is that he doesn't know.
Oh, I think there's an awful lot.
I mean, everybody has a certain amount that they don't know, but something must have triggered him. He must have been. I wonder if he gets high.
Well, that's
anyone ever done weed, smoked? Hunger Downcast is putting it out there. We're looking for I smoked weed with Sidney Torres stories. He hangs out with Lenny Kravitz and Kid Rock. He's got to have done some drugs.
I mean,
which ones are they?
Yeah, I think he actually talked about that in an interview recently. I'm trying to remember where this was, because he's been all over the press. He was profiled in the New York Times lately. He had another one in some magazine. And his shows debuted.
The Deed.
And he was...
And he has that other show that's based sort of on something a concept of his. There's one about a rich dude who takes over a police force.
Yeah, and
buys
a lot of drones and blows planes up.
Yeah, that also, that's some Sidney shit.
Yeah.
He inspired that.
So he's been all over the media lately. Like, he's had a couple of different articles written about him. And I think in one of them, somebody asked him about, or his dark past, came up, and he said something about having to get clean at some point. So,
oh, really?
Yeah.
So he went too far. He took it too far sometimes.
Well, they all go on that.
Well, I mean, if he's a garbage man, there's some dirt. I mean, what I mean is not the physical filthiness of the job, but there is also some political filthiness, generally always surrounding garbage contracts, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It just seems it's a cliche, but it's probably a true one. Also, he was in the news again this week because another filthy garbage man was dumping his garbage into Sidney's container.
Right. So that's
but it looked like such a minimal amount that I was like, okay.
There were a couple of things that were infuriating about that episode. It's the contractor was called. It was a subcontractor for the group that actually runs the French Quarter pickup, right? So
yeah, Imperial or
Ramelli was the name of the sub.
Yeah, but there was a bigger company, and those are the ones that I'm familiar with.
Yeah,
Imperial or Industrial or I don't know,
something like that.
Anyways, I know those guys are shady from personal experience.
I mean, they all are. Sidney's got video of one of them putting, but it's
the smallest receptacle. It's not like somebody was dumping a landfill into his landfill. It was the equivalent of like somebody in an office putting their garbage in another person in the office's garbage can. It was so small.
I've got it. Empire Services.
Okay, yeah. I know them, and they do shady shit.
And so over here,
in my opinion, I'm not going to be on record as saying those guys. Yeah, well, I don't know.
The terrible thing
I could tell stories, but I'll tell you after the podcast. I'm sorry, y'all. I cannot tell y'all, but I do know some shady shit about Empire.
The terrible thing about this is it's really just another episode of Sidney like Bigfooting somebody.
Yeah.
And specifically
like the cop at Molly's.
Mm-hmm.
He Bigfooted that cop at Molly's.
Right. No, exactly that. He goes around like finding people who aren't doing their job right, and he's going to say something about him. And in this case, it's this one guy, because nobody's going to. This one guy who's on camera dumping.
The supervisor was right by his head.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, they just fired the one guy.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. In fact, according to the Advocate, this was Bob Ramelli, owner of the trash firm, downplayed the incidents on Tuesday. He blamed a single hopper who Ramelli says has been, and this is the word that the Advocate chose to use, canned.
So, what do they say in England? He got sacked?
Right. Or as Alli said the other day, he was kicked to the curb.
Kicked to the curb. Yeah. That's a good one.
But again, this is Sidney behavior. It's coming down on the lowest man on the totem pole and really,
good job, Sidney.
Yeah, getting at him, and then
he's going to resort to a life of crime, and then one of your little units can come bust him. That was a dick move, though. I wonder why he did it. I wonder how was his work day going, in that the certain set of circumstances led him to just be like, fuck it. I'm dumping this shit in this can. It was like he probably had to haul that thing like 3 blocks or something. And instead of doing that, it was near the end of his shift. So who knows what was going on in his life, in which who hasn't in their job just kind of half-ass something.
I'm not so sure that that was just one isolated thing. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they
Sidney
are.
suggested that it happens a lot, but
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
It's small cans. Mm-hmm. These aren't dumpsters.
Well, out here, we live in this apartment building, but there's, I guess, about 5 or 6 bins that the building shares, and they're always full of crap from around the neighborhood.
It's something. It's like the most minimal of dick moves. It qualifies as a dick move, but it just barely does.
Right.
It's almost one of the most forgivable dick moves possible. First of all, probably everybody's done it. And second of all, it doesn't really matter that much.
It all goes to the same place eventually.
It goes if a bunch of people start doing it, then maybe somebody like Josh Murphy, former sponsor of the Hunker Downcast, he used to bitch all the time when people would do it to him. And I don't mean to disparage his reputation or anything, but I've seen him do it. Everybody does it. Mm-hmm. So who gives a fuck? Yes, it's wrong, but it's the tiniest of wrong things.
Was this you who was talking about this the other day, about how efficient they are at picking shit up off the street in New Orleans? Like the
it was me on Jason Berry's.
That's where I saw
But
it.
most of that's Richards.
Okay.
Richards is who I had in Algiers, and it got to the point where I was like challenging them with stuff. Like I put out a 20-foot bronze statue, and I would be like, I bet you they're not taking this motherfucker. And then the next day it would be gone for whatever reason. Or I'd be like, wow, let me put out, this giant section of a Mardi Gras float, and I'll put that out there, and then it's gone, and they'll just take it and they'll just shove it in the back of the truck, and the truck will just like nom 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 and eat it all.
So you watch the truck come by.
Yeah, I'll be like, here's 4 anvils. I'm going to put these 4 anvils out there, and I'm going to see, and then they'll come by, and they'll just be they were just gone the next day. It was amazing.
It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I don't know if it was people from the neighborhood, but usually if it had some value in Algiers, I would take it to the corner of the street. And I would put it there, and it would not last very long. I do it at the shop, too. If something has some value, usually food, I'll put it out on the garbage can out front, and it never lasts very long. But yeah, I'm impressed with what they will take. I put out 3 coffins one time. They took them. An elephant carcass. They took it. All kinds of shit.
You did not put
a big propeller from a steamer, like a fucking freighter, one of those. They took it.
Yeah, you really get your hands on some interesting shit.
Yeah. I'm a found object artist, Jeff. I couldn't put it in any art, 2 mammoth tusks I put out there.
Oh, those have got to have some kind of value to somebody. Yeah?
They do. I think you can make jewelry out of them and big pieces of art and stuff. So what's going on in town?
Well, besides Sidney is writing poetry.
Wait. I wanted to talk to you about the Freebird episodes, and then I'm starting to figure out that you're the Michael Hayes of this group. I thought I was, because Michael Hayes was the most flamboyant of the Freebirds, and I'm probably the most flamboyant of us 3. But the one thing that makes you Michael Hayes is that there was no Freebirds without him. There was no incarnation of the group that didn't involve him. It was always him, Terry Bam Bam Gordy, or Gorgeous Jimmy Garvin, or Buddy Roberts, but he was definitely always there, and that's what you are. There's never been a Freebird episode with just me and Alli.
Not yet, anyway.
What will it be like, I wonder?
I don't know. I mean,
it will be like watching a wrestling match with Jimmy Garvin and Terry Bam Bam Gordy. Nobody wants to see that shit.
It'll be like Mike Pence having lunch with somebody else's wife.
Never happens.
Right. It's just not.
It absolutely will not happen. I wonder if I'm Terry Bam Bam Gordy or Gorgeous Jimmy Garvin. I don't know. I'm going to leave that to the people. could be Bam Bam Gordy. Did you see the link that I had posted earlier about what Freebird episodes with you and I are like?
I saw that, but I did not see. I didn't click on it, so I don't know. What was it?
It's Mike Tyson being interviewed by Jim Gray after a fight, and Tyson is just talking about how he's going to eat Lennox Lewis's children and how he's Alexander the Great and he's a conqueror and like spitting out a bunch of Assalamu alaikums and Laikum Assalams, and Jim's just trying to conduct the interview and stuff, and then Mike starts talking about his dead friend and stuff.
Always confusion with Mike Tyson, who's standing by with Jim Gray. Jim?
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Steve. Mike, was that your shortest fight ever?
I bear witness there's only one God, and Muhammad, blessings and peace be upon him, is his prophet. I dedicate this fight to my brother, Darabam, who died. I'll be there to see you. I love you with all my heart. All praise be to my children. I love you. Oh God, man, what?
Is this your shortest fight ever? In any time, amateur, professional, ever?
Assalamu alaikum, Maida. I don't know, man. Yeah, Lennox Lewis. Lennox, I'm coming for you.
Mike, is it frustrating to train like you did and then have this in 7 or 8 seconds?
For this fight, I only trained probably 2 weeks or 3 weeks for this fight. I had to bury my best friend, and I dedicated this fight. I wasn't going to fight. I dedicated this fight to him. I was going to rip his heart out. I'm the best ever. I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been. There's no one can stop me. Lennox is a conqueror. No, I'm Alexander. He's no Alexander. I'm the best ever. There's never been anybody as ruthless. I'm Sonny Liston. I'm Jack Dempsey. There's no one like me. I'm from Nairclaw. There's no one that can match me. My style is impetuous. My defense is impregnable. And I'm just ferocious. I want your heart. I want to eat his children. Praise be to Allah.
Are you saying now, Mike?
So
That's
in
what
that
these are like.
situation, you're Jim Gray, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking that.
That's what's going on, though.
Well, what do you want to hear about?
Let's talk about the Superdome thing with Jason Berry because I think that was great.
Oh, good. You know, this week the Oakland Raiders are moving to Las Vegas.
Yes.
And a big part of that is the $750 million in public money they're getting from
City of Las
the
Vegas.
city of Las Vegas, from
The Sin City of Las Vegas.
that touched off the usual wave of speculation from people in town about, well, you know, what's the Saints deal look like, and are the Saints going to move, and you know, because people think about that.
They're talking about that again?
Well, whenever a team moves, everybody goes, well, shit. You know,
Do we have our shit together?
Where are we in the queue by the NFL?
Yeah, but LA is gone now.
Right.
Well, who is St. Louis now is back being as leverage. San Antonio.
Yeah, there's that. There's also the possibility of
San Diego now needs a team.
yeah, but there's also,
Anybody who just lost a team is now in the running for another team.
There's also the international market. You know, like they want to put a team in London.
The British Bulldogs.
They want to put a team maybe in Mexico City, stuff like that. So that's
the Mexico City Santos.
You have to have, but yeah, San Diego. I didn't even think about San Diego. That's
the San Diego Santos.
Yes,
they could get us.
That would work.
They ain't building a stadium.
No.
They've decided that, which is crazy to me because having lived there for as long as I did, I figured that they would just sell shit out to anybody at all times because the city was a bimbo. But I think the Spanos family had just pissed everybody off so much and they were so politically unpopular that they were like, fuck you guys. And the Murph was a good stadium. I mean, it was still... brutalist and everything. It was all right. And why not? You don't need a dome or anything in San Diego. It's beautiful there. It's fine.
There's also just, rationally, these megalithic sports stadiums, even the ones from the 60s era where they were the multi-purpose stadiums that all of a sudden in the 90s became outdated, quote unquote. Mm-hmm. Those were built to be permanent structures.
Yeah.
These are multi-million, billion-dollar buildings.
Yeah, like multiple Rolling Stones concerts could take place there.
In another time, they would be like monuments for the ages, and nowadays they're like disposable fucking diapers. As soon as some billionaire owner decides that they want to leverage other goodies out of whatever municipality is going to give them a better deal, going to give them more perks, all of a sudden the stadium is outdated at 30 years, 40 years, or whatever the age of it is. The Oakland Coliseum is 50 years old, but you remember when the Raiders moved from LA back to Oakland,
They said it was because the L.A. Coliseum was a piece of
Right.
shit.
Right. And they also, that came with more upgrades to the Oakland Stadium. So it's not like it's been festering for 50 years. It's been upgraded. It's workable. It's not like any of these owners is losing money. That's not the point. The point is that there's always money to be taken off the table if they can run the correct scam. Did you know Jerry Jones made like X amount of millions of dollars from both the Rams moving to LA and from the Raiders moving to Las Vegas just because he owns a company that got the contract to provide services for the stadiums in both of those cities.
That sounds awesome.
Well,
good for Jerry Jones.
Right. This is just an example of how the owners always favor these moves because they, one or two of them always has an opportunity to make some money. And that's really why, as long as they can hold the gun up to the next city in line,
but cities are saying fuck you now, though.
Sometimes.
And then there's always another city that's like, it's like relationships, It's just like, I quit her, but hey, this dude thinks she's cool, man. He's willing to take her out to dinner a couple times. Or this dude, cheated on that girl, but hey, whatever. I think maybe he just cheated on her, So there's always somebody, so-and-so is dating so-and-so now. Las Vegas is dating the Raiders now.
Right, for,
LA is dating the Chargers. San Diego broke up with the Chargers.
Nothing lasts forever, I guess.
Yeah, well, we love the Saints. We have a happy relationship, but
because of this week, everybody is, worried about the Saints moving again. Or how close are we to the bottom of that list? I guess is what I was getting at with this.
Who's next?
Right,
Minnesota. They got a new stadium.
Right, Jacksonville maybe, but they're already half in London anyhow
because they make them fly there every year.
Mm-hmm. So. Because it came up locally, what happened was both the Times-Picayune and the Advocate rushed out to write about how everybody should just shut up and not worry about it.
Yeah, I don't think we should be either. We seem like...
Well, first of all, it's a permanent part of the NFL's business model to...
Threaten cities.
Yes.
Okay.
Second of all, Tom Benson tried to yank the Saints out of New Orleans after Katrina. And he was fucking gone to San Antonio... And there are people here nowadays who want to pretend that didn't happen. And a lot of them are in the media. And I don't understand why they paper over this shit all the time. Anyway, we all had to get lectured about how we shouldn't be worried about the Saints moving again. Well, the lease is up in 2025 on Superdome, which will be years
seems
old.
Like, God, it seems like so far away, but it's really not.
It's not. And the Superdome will be turning 50. Which is the same age as the Oakland Coliseum.
Yeah, but there's a big screen in there now.
Right, there's a big TV.
They redid the facade.
Right.
The dome's great.
I'm never going to say anything against the Superdome. The Superdome is my favorite building in the whole city of New Orleans.
No, it works great. Event after event after event is held there, and not like stupid events either, like Monster Truck Jam. Although Monster Truck Jams are held there. WrestleMania 34 is going to be there. Mm-hmm. So. Obviously, still a viable event venue.
Corey Feldman's not going to be there.
No, Southport Hall.
Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah. Tickets are $175.
Holy shit, really?
Yeah. The high-end tickets. The low-end, I think, are $25.
Okay. Well, that's more.
His Angels will be there as well.
I'm distracting from the narrative here.
Jason Brad Barry.
Okay, so I'm trying to get to Jason Barry. Right. So
favorite 9/11 truther wrote... And created a little video for people like me, which was awesome. As soon as I found out there was a little video, I was like, oh, sweet.
Yeah. So I don't know if you know this, but Jason has a whole series of investigations coming up, so he says.
Constantly has those, though. He's always he's on something big, sometimes true.
Right.
So I don't mean to make light of that.
No.
Sometimes he's onto some big shit, and it's fucking true.
Never.
When he finds out what happened in Building 7, if anyone's going to, it's going to be Jason. I trust that, hey, if we find out why that building fell, he will do it.
I'm going to try and get him to come on the show. We should
sure.
do that. We should talk to Jason.
We could do a video show with him.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I was talking about the Superdome lease. Oh, yeah. Underhill had promised us that it's okay because even though the lease is up in 2025, they're renegotiating it, and they all have everybody's best interest at heart, and everything will be fine. And unquestionably says all that. Meanwhile, Jason has run this other story about the nature of Tom Benson's lease, which everyone already knows is kind of a fucking crazy-ass giveaway. The state pays for rent on his building that they basically gave him for free.
Benson Tower. Not a good-looking building.
He gets...
Just a very... I hate that.
You don't
building.
like Benson Tower?
No. It's one of the plainest, least imaginative buildings in the city.
I'm trying to think what era that building comes from.
It looks 90s-esque, but...
I don't know if the tower...
It looks like a McBuilding.
It used to be the Dominion Tower, and I don't remember if it went in with the New Orleans Center or if the New Orleans Center went in after the tower went up.
The little mall they had there?
Yeah, we'll have to check on that.
It is better than Copeland Tower, though, as far as the towers go. Of the rich empire guys' towers. Copeland Tower is like a... Have we talked about this on the show before?
I don't think so, but I know the building you're talking about.
It's one of those hotels, those round hotels that generally indicates that you're in a shithole part of town. When you see these little round hotels, you know,
right.
They're like a Best Western or a Holiday Inn or something, and they build it round, and it means like, hey, this is a failed part of town, a part of town that wanted to be something that then didn't.
Once upon a time was the Landmark Hotel.
Yeah. That might be what it is.
Right.
Anyways, it's about, I don't know, 9 stories, hardly a tower.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't even qualify as a skyscraper by original skyscraper terms. And then it's in that section of Metairie where he, hung out and stuff. Like, how vain do you have to be to just slap your name in tower on any tall building that you happen to come across? Especially one of those that are notorious for being kind of crack being smoked. Anyways.
So we were way off track with this. We were trying to get
I just think Copeland Tower is one of the funniest things.
Right, it is. So Benson Tower, right? So...
an ugly building.
Tom Benson has this deal with the state where he has this land swap with them that they now pay him annually for. He has all kinds of sweetheart deals with regard to how the stadium works. He makes all the revenue from all the concessions, tax-free. All those events that they have out there, he gets a big piece of that. It's just it's a huge subsidy to him. And
he's like the Jerry Jones of New Orleans.
Yes.
As Jerry Jones is to the NFL.
Yeah, he basically, that whole neighborhood, that whole section around from the Claiborne overpass over to the Pontchartrain Expressway, and then over to Poydras, and then back over to I guess you would say
City Hall. City Hall's right there.
Yeah, Loyola. That's Bensonville. That is just that's his domain, right?
Mercedes Bensonville.
But there's also the matter of LaSalle Street, which is what Jason's article is about.
Where they're double dipping. The city's losing the public space and paying for it. Paying to lose for it.
Right. The state taxpayers are paying rent to Benson's corporation for the area that is known now as Champion Square, which is really that 1400 block of LaSalle Street, which the city gave over to Benson for use as Champion Square without receiving any compensation for it. And it's they claim that they're still negotiating a land swap or some other compensation, but it's been years and years now that.
And if nobody bothers to check, they won't.
Probably not, right?
They'll just be like, "Oh yeah, there was this."
And it's a couple of things. First of all, like Jason points out that it's a violation of the Louisiana Constitution that this public property has just been given over. And then B, it's money left on the table. It's a substantial amount of money that could be going to the city budget every year for use of the street, or maybe a one-time payment to the city for use of the street.
Something.
But it's a privatized street.
Handle it somehow.
It's a privatized city street that doesn't have any legal framework or arrangement other than just, oh, well, it's Tom Benson.
So they expect that nobody's going to be checking on that stuff. But wait, did you say that the Raiders moving to Las Vegas triggered all that?
No, it was in the news this week.
Oh, they both were in the news this week.
And I thought about how these things are related, wherein the Raiders moved to Las Vegas and Saints fans freaked out, and the media all said, well, don't worry about it, everything's fine. And Jason comes out with this story. It's like, well, actually, kind of fucked up.
Is Bronze Tom on LaSalle Street? Is the actual statue there?
Well, the statue is on the stairway.
Okay, so he didn't. That would be great.
But it overlooks this, like, Bronze Tom is holding aloft the Bronze Lombardi.
Yes.
And overlooking all of Champion Square. So it is kind of Tom.
But it's not. He's not actually on LaSalle Street.
No, but he's facing it and he's looking triumphantly at it. So you can kind of put that together. Also, Champion Square is the ugliest. Like, it's like the example of fake space.
Yeah.
Like, it's a box.
It doesn't seem real much at all, and it's pretty lame. They used to have some shows there, but they haven't in a while.
Oh,
or maybe it's out of season.
I can't remember who the last one. I think the last one I read about that played there was Weezer, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but that
I know
was
ZZ Top did too.
A few months ago.
Doesn't seem like a great spot to see a show.
I've never seen anything there. So.
Oh, I've seen like so many Drunk Saints fans there.
Oh well, I mean, I haven't seen a show there.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah.
Been there.
What are they doing, the Saints?
What are the Saints doing?
They're signing people, and they're not giving away the number 11 draft pick, and they're not getting Belichicked
yet.
You think it will still happen?
I'm glad they haven't done it yet. But when the negotiations for this Malcolm Butler deal is what you're talking about,
yes,
started happening, everybody kind of pointed out, like, well, they got plenty of time to do it. So, it's just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it's not going to happen. It's complicated because what they have to do is Butler is a restricted free agent in New England, which means that...
Jesus, I've never even heard of the restricted kind. I didn't even know there was a restricted kind, although... After I've heard unrestricted so many times, there has to have been the other kind.
So the way this works is they
can match any deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
then they have to stay if they do, right?
Right. If somebody makes an offer to him right now, the Patriots can match it or they can decline to match it, in which case they're entitled to compensation, which would mean if the Saints were just to go try to sign him, they could sign him for whatever they wanted to.
And get the number 11.
The number 11 pick would go to New England. But because New England is trying to dump him, but also be compensated for him and not lose him after his next contract, or they're at an impasse with him and they don't want to sign him to a long contract, that's where these negotiations come into place, where he can agree to be traded to New Orleans after he signs the tender that the Patriots have offered him. So
after he swipes right on the tender?
Yeah, exactly. he basically has to agree to the Patriots' lowball offer and sign a contract with him in good faith that they will then turn around and trade him to the Saints, where he's already renegotiated his deal with them. So he's got a lot to lose by signing his name anywhere, other than on an offer sheet directly from the Saints. But the Saints aren't going to do that because then they give up the number 11 pick. That's the idea.
So we have currently traded away Brandon Cooks for a number 32 pick in the first round.
Right.
And that has nothing to do with any of this. That is a separate thing. And
it's a separate deal now.
And now there's something else cooking because we were down there having tea and crumpets with them about the Brandon Cooks deal. This Malcolm Butler thing popped up. Yeah.
Also, I think that Malcolm Butler was part of the talks in the Cooks trade. And I think this is just speculation on my part. Like, at some point, they agreed to the Cooks trade with the understanding that another deal for Butler would be made later.
And he's a cornerback, which we need.
We do need one, because all of our cornerbacks, even the ones that are like supposed to be starter quality, have been injured and didn't play most of the last year.
I forgot who they all are.
So I
cannot name a single Saints corner. Delvin Breaux,
who broke his leg last year.
Yeah. They're always doing that.
Right.
Their legs are always getting fucked up.
P.J. Williams, who had a concussion last year.
I don't remember him at all. One time.
They were down to B.W. Webb and...
Crawley?
Crawley. And
that was a cornerback, huh?
Yes.
Okay.
And Sterling Moore.
He was good.
He's back.
Okay, good.
But he wasn't all that good. You don't want to go into the season with Sterling Moore as your number one guy, right? Like, you need to have...
I thought he was kind of like coming on strong last year.
They think he has value, but he's not...
But Malcolm Butler would be like a team leader.
Allegedly. But the last time we thought that was going to happen, it was Brandon Browner, right?
Right. And Jason David. It goes back a long way.
Right, it goes back
Jairus Burr, Brandon Browner... So Jason David.
There's a history of whiffing very badly on these people.
I don't know why Belichick is fucking. Well, yeah, I know why, because he can craft a fucking cornerback out of everyday items,
or slot receiver,
and a slot receiver. You know, so he's the found object artist of fucking
the
NFL drafting and shit, like of drafting players. You know, so of course he's gonna get it.
But that's where they are with that. And then the draft is a couple weeks away. They signed Manti T'eo, which is really funny to me.
Is that how you say his name?
That's how I say his name. Is that wrong?
I thought it was Manti T'eo.
No, it's Manti.
Manti?
Yes.
Yeah, you had DeRay McKesson's name right, and I would have called him DeRay Mackison. When you said that once, I'm like, man, I'm glad I'm not speaking to the media during this rising tide. I'd have called that motherfucker D-Ray.
I think that people call him that.
D-Ray?
I'm pretty sure it goes by DeRay.
Yeah, DeRay McKesson. D-Ray Mackison. Sounds way cooler.
Oh, the reason I brought up T'eo in the first place was because he's a Notre Dame guy, and that's Alli's unicorn, right?
He's the gay Notre Dame guy, isn't he?
I don't think that
he's the first openly gay player in the NFL.
No, that's wrong. Manti T'eo is the one with the fake girlfriend.
Oh, catfish. Miller Lite. So, after all the many years of Hunger Downcast episodes, we finally have a Notre Dame player on the Saints.
And if he can play at all, he's got. You ain't went down with last year was a torn Achilles.
All right.
I went and looked it up, and I found a study of NFL players who have had Achilles injuries and the likelihood that they come back from them. And the least likely position to come back from torn Achilles injuries are linebackers. So,
Jesus.
Yeah, it's probably not a good sign.
We do have success drafting from the Chargers, though, or picking up free agents or trades.
Injured people
Injured
from the
Chargers.
Right.
We have fucked the Chargers over. If T'eo works out, that'll be the fourth. He'll be the fourth greatest dude that we jacked from the Chargers.
And when you think about it, the quarterback we took from them had a destroyed shoulder.
During the I've been watching old games recently in their entirety because they're showing up for whatever reason. They're showing up. You can't really find them on YouTube with your browser, but because I'm looking at YouTube on my Roku, these things are popping up.
Okay.
So I've watched several Saints games in their entirety as they were filmed, and I watched the Falcons dome opening game, and there's a point where the announcer calls Drew Brees a quarterback with a bum shoulder, which you would never call him that. Like in the last couple of years, no, he's completely buried that shoulder injury.
Yeah, but it's starting to creep back in a little bit now, right?
Is it?
Yeah,
they've been saying that.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
It's up. Jason Barry needs to investigate.
If anyone can find it, he needs to go through like Drew Brees garbage or something.
Jet fuel can't melt rotator cuffs.
It can't melt it. It can weaken them though. So. Yeah, we fucked them on Drew, obviously, or they fucked themselves because they're the Chargers and the owners are dicks, and that's why they're playing in LA now. Then the second best player we ever signed for them in the contemporary age, Sproles, which then we later ended up screwing that up, I think. And then the Meacham, the Meacham Blanket trade was fucking brilliant.
He did the whole Meach around.
Yeah, he walked away from us, didn't he?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, too bad. But then
he went and made his money there.
Yeah, but he didn't do shit for him.
Right.
They cut him.
Right.
And then we re-signed him.
Right.
So that was fucking awesome. And he had a little bit more, a little bit of a revitalized career with us for a short time afterwards.
He did whatever.
And now Manti T'eo.
Manti T'eo. Catfish.
Mr. Catfish. If he does well, that's going to be number 4. Why don't you, while you're looking up shit like Achilles tendon injuries, recoveries from positions, look up the history of transactions between the Chargers and the Saints. Also, both myself and my soon-to-be ex-wife, Romy, are also transplants from San Diego. So
I am glad that you pointed this out because now I feel like a good 50% better about the T'eo signing than I did just
there's a
before
precedent.
we started talking about this. There's a huge... There's a lot of karma
we
coming.
fucked the Chargers.
Yeah.
The L.A. Chargers.
I like this.
Ooh, that sounds terrible.
It's stupid.
They used to have a song there for the Chargers. It went, San Diego Superchargers, San Diego Superchargers.
Kind of,
And then they would repeat it over and
like
over
a
again.
70s kind of thing to it.
Also, they had a team there in San Diego, a soccer team called the San Diego Sockers. That was their nickname. Now they're going to have the San Diego Foot Faces or whatever the fuck they're going to call it.
I know this is going to sound trite, but I think that it's actually good that we find a way to rename just about everything something-y face.
It is. It's a way of saying we're not buying your bullshit anymore.
Right.
Whatever the fuck you are.
Right.
Just
baby cake.
We got
baby
too much
face.
fucking shit going on in our lives trying to raise our children and find health care. Than to participate in your fucking, than to name your shit for you.
To do your fucking branding for you.
Yeah, just
Right.
name the shit something, okay? If you leave it to us, we're gonna fucking just go.
We're gonna baby cake your ass.
It's great. It's a tiny little bit of civil disobedience. You know?
Well, it's democracy.
It's something everybody can agree on. That if you ask us to do this shit, you're gonna regret it. My favorite example is when Bill Cosby was getting into his shit. The first right when it first started, and it was getting lit. He was ill-advised. Clearly, somebody told him to try and win the social media war, I guess. And I'm speculating on all this. So he posted a bunch of pictures of him with his, looking cute and doing his little Bill Cosby shit that he used to do on the Cosby Show. And it said, "Mem me, y'all. Go ahead, mem me." And it had just pictures that were set up to have text written into them, like with blank spaces on them.
Okay.
And that was a bad idea. It did not turn out nearly how he wanted.
Yeah, I can't see how that would have.
Well, he's old. He's out of touch. He's got that complex where he still thinks he's America's darling dad and everything, and he didn't obviously realize that shit was coming out. His dirt was coming out. Mm-hmm. So he thought he could just put a little picture of himself wearing one of those sweaters with a pudding pop and be like, "Mem me." And it's just meme me.
Right.
Whatever. Manti T'eo meme. Jeremy Abear used to call him Maymays. He used to call him, or Mimis. He used to call him. That's that Bayou. That's that Bayou man.
That's what he calls his grandma, though, right?
Yeah,
like, it's something like that.
I think they call them mamas out there. But
okay.
Anyways, where were we going with that?
I have no fucking idea.
Getting the public to name shit.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Anyways, San Diego Sockers was a pretty shitty name too.
Yeah, it's also giving up.
When I was a kid, I played soccer, and my brother's soccer team name was the Cyclones, which I thought was weird. And my soccer team name when I was like, must have been 4 years old. They were the Cosmos.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Isn't
that weird?
It's like something Sidney Torres would contemplate.
Yeah.
That's a little heavy.
He's out there doing it right now. But that's a weird name for a sports team. We were in Orlando. That was near Cape Canaveral and shit. And I'm pretty sure probably Cosmos was the original show was probably playing then. If I was 4 years old, 76. It's about right, huh?
Probably
80s, something like that. What else is happening, Jeff?
Well,
I'm starting to get lit now, so
good deal.
I'm going to take an Uber home in case anyone's wondering.
I got what I wanted to do this month. We didn't get a chance to get together while this was happening. I wanted to do March Madness brackets with the mayoral candidates.
Oh, right.
And just to see where they would go in the seedings, because there's so many of them right now. There's like
I think Sidney's going to win.
Really?
Yeah. Why not?
Well, he hasn't declared yet. I mean, he's coming close. Obviously,
LaToya's running?
He's thinking big thoughts because you can see, just from his Facebook post. He also has said that he has $4 million ready to spend if, he decides to do it. Right now, the declared candidates, if you'd like to hear who they are, they haven't signed any papers or anything, but they've said they're running, are LaToya, Michael Bagnaris.
That's my boy right there.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. Representative Bagnaris was out on Jackson Square earlier today and was saying that
Judge Bagnaris.
No, well, his brother.
Oh, okay.
Representative.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
Bagnaris.
Okay.
Works the buggy line.
Mm-hmm.
He was out last weekend saying, "You saw how we stopped Trump on that health care." So, do any of those other candidates have a brother
who's a buggy driver?
Well, but also a state representative. Hey, man. Everybody needs another job. Until they start paying those people what they're worth, everybody's got to do other jobs,
Because it's a gig economy for our politicos, basically.
Yep. Even Representative Bagnaris has to fucking get out there on the hack stand and earn his money, bro. So
those are the...
Bagnaris ain't going to win.
Right. Number 4, there's one more person who has made an official announcement that they're running, or has kind of let it be known that they're running. I don't think LaToya's let it be known officially, but she's running.
There's a billboard that says LaToya.
Yeah, right. Exactly. But the 4th person who has said he's running is Frank Scurlock. Do you know who this person is?
He discovered oil out west, right? And he had a little Scurlock's Ranch. No,
this is different. You're thinking of somebody else.
It sounds like that.
This just happened this week that he declared for mayor. But let me tell you who this is. Do you remember a couple years ago where people started noticing the skywriting going on at Jazz Fest time?
Yeah.
All right. So
it was Jesus.
Yeah, it was some kind of it was love and Jesus and such. Yep. So this guy was paying for that. And some of us were saying, what is he advertising for? What's his angle? And it turns out that he was trying to get some attention for his plan to redevelop Six Flags.
Oh. Into a driving range? A golf driving range?
Nope.
Oh.
Although that may have been thrown in at one time because he had several ideas. Because he was rejected a few times.
It's the evergreen story in New Orleans.
Every couple
the
months,
redevelopment of Six Flags.
They
call it Jazzland. Can you just call it Jazzland? It's
so
what you call that area is the same thing. It identifies where you're at in New Orleans history. It's like what you call 1135 Decatur. Like that bar that I'm assuming you call it. What do they used to call it? I call it the Whirling Dervish.
Yeah, okay. So it was Club Decatur at one time.
It was Club Decatur, and then it was 1135 Decatur, and then it was Ruby Fruit Jungle, and then it was Spitfire, and now it's Santos. But some of the more hardcore people call it something else.
Okay.
And I can't remember what it was. But all the more old school people call it something. Okay, so, Six Flags or Jazzland.
Okay, so anyway, so Scurlock was one of the people who was rejected multiple times for bidding for the Six Flags. And he had one of his ideas was, we're going to have a theme park. And another one of his ideas is, we're going to have a mall. And then another one of his ideas is we're going to have a Noah's Ark attraction with you may have seen these happen in other states where they have
I've heard about them, yeah.
It's like Bible Land sort of a thing.
He should have tried realistic slave plantation. That would have been awesome.
Well, that is actually already been done.
Got took care of. Remember the guy that was going to do the slave boat? And he was going to have a food court and shit?
Yeah. That didn't go over so well. Maybe he'll come back.
I would have love to have seen it.
What they need is
Let's go see the tortured conditions and have a cafe au lait.
What they need to do is have RTA in on it so that they can go to the newfangled touristy ferry station, and everybody can take a boat ride with a monument. So Scurlock, in addition to all the trying to scam Six Flags several times, he has his father invented the bouncy house.
Whoa!
Yeah.
That guy's a fucking millionaire then,
This is
billionaire.
why he has all this money.
There's so much money in bounce houses.
Right.
You know when one of those things shows up on your block that you're in for a day. And the dude who runs it, all he's got to do is just show up, inflate it, bounce, not literally, come back, deflate it, put it on the truck, and then leave.
I mean, I imagine it's an insurance nightmare, though. But
no, I'm sure there's a little contract that you sign real quick, and that takes care of all that shit.
Anyway, so this is one of your mayoral candidates now.
Okay.
So you've got,
that'll be fun.
Which will be a lot of fun, especially if Torres gets in, because then we don't know which clown to watch the most.
Well, that guy is a clown, whereas Sidney has this air amongst a lot of people of being a real go-getter. No one's going to believe Scurlock. Everyone's going to be like, this guy is fucking nuts.
Yeah.
But Sidney's just enough dangerous. Of a... Yeah, he's more dangerous.
Yeah, I got you.
Who would you love to see? Cousin Pat? Engineer Pat?
Well, we could do that. We could put Pat in there.
Yeah. He's not going to run... When is he going to make his run? He needs to grow his hair back a little bit.
Oh, you don't think so?
I think he does need to grow his hair back.
Oh, a little bit more. He
looks batshit nuts right now. I would cross the street if he was walking towards me. So I would go to the other side of the street.
Engineer Pat just did St. Baldrick's, and he looks like David Koechner. It's a little bit uncanny, to be frank.
And I would imagine seeing him talk would make it even more so.
Yeah.
He's got that whammy. That's him. Yeah. From Anchorman.
Champ here. I'm all about having fun. Get a couple of cocktails in me, start a fire in someone's kitchen, maybe go to SeaWorld, take my pants off. Anyway, I become kind of famous for my signature catchphrase, whammy, as in Gene Tennis at the plate, and whammy, whammy.
Oh. Yeah, he looks, oof.
Sorry.
Grow it back, Pat.
Sorry about that.
Man, you're a better man than us. Mm-hmm. You're starting to grow yours out. You could do St. Baldrick's in a few years.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
You're losing a little bit at the top, I think. We haven't talked about shit on this podcast.
I could run down the rest of the mayoral candidates for you if you're interested.
Well, they're not real candidates yet.
There are potential candidates.
All right, let's talk about them.
So you've got a second class of candidates who are like people who might run. One of them is Sidney, who is teasing, and we'll find out maybe on qualifying day whether or not he's running.
Okay.
The other two are a pair of state legislators who I don't think will both get in, but one of them might get in. They're Walt Leger and J.P. Morrell.
Morrell's one of those ones that I always see in hyphenated last names, right? So-and-so hyphenated Morrell.
Yeah.
So-and-so Morrell hyphenated something.
That's correct. He comes from a political family. His father was a state legislator. His mother was a city council person.
One of the Cynthias.
Yeah.
From back after Katrina. Okay.
So, but he also has a podcast. I don't know if you've listened to his podcast.
No, I don't. I listen to one podcast, my own.
Okay. It's not bad.
And
overall.
Dan Carlin. I listen to Dan Carlin.
JP will talk to various people about what's happening in New Orleans and in the state, and I don't always agree with what he has to say, but often I think he has some thoughtful guests on. It's not a bad little talk show. I would vote for him for talk show host in charge.
Okay.
I'm not sure about mayor yet, but he may be running.
Okay. Well, I'm against any hyphenated people.
Okay.
If I've seen your name hyphenated, like Carter Peterson, which is she coming up next soon?
Yeah, she's in the category of probably not running.
Okay.
So Karen Carter Peterson.
There's so many Carters.
Right. Oh, you know what I thought earlier? I thought that Troy Carter should probably change his name to LaToya, so that way he would be really close to having a billboard already.
Once she decides she's not running, he's like, can you just cut that, move it over, and add an R there?
Right. And then his other move could be change his name to Troy Carter Peterson, That way, when Karen Carter Peterson doesn't run, he's already got whatever she had. I mean,
And somebody in the voting booth might just be like, yep, Carter Peterson.
But Karen Carter Peterson's not going to run probably because she's moving up in the Democratic Party. She just was elected to some DNC functionary position.
Whatever. It's a fucking it's a dead end street.
So, yeah, maybe so. Going down with the ship, right?
Yeah, those guys suck. Right on.
But it sounds like she's not going to.
The Democratic Party's like the Las Vegas Raiders or the fucking LA Chargers of the fucking political landscape, man. It's just like, you guys are done. Bernie criticized Putin today, so that means Bernie's going to die.
In a dramatic fashion, in some kind of like...
polonium poisoning or something.
Okay.
It's just going to be a matter of time before an American fucking politician or an American in general, before Putin poisons one of those motherfuckers.
I don't know. I think Putin's sitting pretty right now. I don't really...
It's not going to stop him. None of those motherfuckers go, hey, you know what? I think this is all right.
They're like NFL owners.
Yeah, it's got to be...
They always have to move on to the next scam.
Slash and burn. Yep. Scorched earth, you know.
Gotcha.
It's the only fun they can have. After you reach a certain amount of money, the only fun you can have is just watching the world burn. How much fun do you think Donald Trump doesn't ever look like he's fucking having any fun?
He says he's having a good time.
I'm actually having a very good time, okay? But they'll take this news conference. Don't forget, that's the way I won. Remember, I used to give you a news conference every time I made a speech, which was like every day. But I'm having a good time. Tomorrow they will say, Donald Trump rants and raves at the press. I'm not ranting and raving. I'm just telling you, you're dishonest people. But I'm not ranting and raving. I love this. I'm having a good time doing it.
Who else is going to be the mayor?
Jason Williams is probably not going to run.
NBA Jason Williams? Jason with a Y or just Jason?
Jason Williams, City Councilman Jason
the
Williams.
White guy who played for the Timberwolves or the guy who shot his limo driver and played for the Nets?
No, neither one of those guys.
Oh.
The other Jason Williams.
Councilman
yeah. He ran in. This is why everybody thought he was going to run for mayor very quickly, because he ran at large in his first run for council, and he won big time and citywide. So
and it's him and Stacey are the
they are the two at large.
Why doesn't she want to run? She's done.
I think she's finished. Yeah.
I mean, I wish she was single, man. I'd like to date her.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, let's put that out there.
I think my landlord is friends with her. I'm gonna talk to.
Okay, but I mean,
to her
she's definitely taken.
She's married, yeah, but maybe they're open.
Okay,
maybe it's an open marriage.
There's always possibilities.
It'd be a shame if it wasn't. I love you so much, Stacey. Holla at your boy.
So you're off of Peggy Scott Laborde now, and you're on to Stacey.
No, I have a certain polyamory about me, so
okay.
Neither of them are contacting me, so
yet
I'm available for whomever comes first, but hopefully it will be Stacey.
Okay.
But we'll see. She's not running. She's done with politics. Well, that's a shame. She was a rising star there for a while. Who else?
So Jason Williams is probably not going to run. There's a couple of reasons for that, and the most likely one is he's probably going to want to run for DA in a couple of years. So
okay. The DA is thinking of running, though, huh?
Yeah, so that's the other thing. This got thrown out in some, I think Clancy Dubose threw out first, and then it showed up in an Advocate article where Cannizzaro might run for mayor, which seems really off the wall to me.
Yeah.
But then I thought about it, and I thought, well, probably what should happen is Cannizzaro can run for mayor, and then Mitch can run for sheriff, and then Gussman can run for city council, and then really,
those three guys bitching at each other.
They should just all like swap jobs every couple of years, just do like cross training and stuff, and they get yell from other directions. Like I'll sit on this side of the room and yell at you, and then you will switch places and we'll yell from the other way, and it'll just be an endless circle of that.
Well, has Cannizzaro done a horrible job?
He's
not doing as horrible a job as Eddie Jordan did. He's better than him.
It depends on what you want him to do.
Does he have armed robbery suspects hiding in his house?
No, but there is a movement, not only in the state, but also in the city, to ease off on prosecution for minor things like drug possession or like outstanding warrants or things. Like, we don't want to arrest everybody for bullshit, and we don't want to hold everybody for bullshit.
Sounds great.
And we don't want to put them all in prison for
fuck their lives up, make them lose their jobs, find the fuck out of them.
There's a movement for that, and Cannizzaro is resisting it every step of the way
because it keeps him employed.
it makes him look
him
good.
and his cronies and everybody he represents who sell handcuffs and bulletproof vests and file paperwork and build buildings in which that shit's stored. Everybody's affiliated with him.
He's just this like 30 years old, like worn out, tough on crime type of stance that he's taking. He's being very unreasonable about it, and a lot of people think he's a dick. So,
I mean, it doesn't matter if he's a dick or not, as long as he's doing a fucking good job. Almost everybody's a fucking dick.
it depends on what you mean by good job.
I'm
What kind of a job do you want done? Do you want 15-year-old kids put in prison for 30 years for marijuana possession?
No, not for that. No.
Well, so what do you mean? Like, is he doing a good job?
Is he doing that?
Yeah. So
You sure?
Yes.
All right, we'll put that in the show notes.
Okay.
I mean, if it's not my 15-year-old kid, though.
You son of a bitch.
Look, there shouldn't be anybody going to jail for any sort of marijuana possessions anyway. So he's overcompetent. He's overplaying his card, whereas being undercompetent like Eddie Jordan was, you got motherfuckers running around on the streets, misdemeanor murders and shit. Like it sure seemed like Eddie Jordan sucked a lot. I protested that motherfucker at 5 a.m. one time. That's the morning that I learned that if you're a group of protesters that only got like 18 people, you walk in a circle. Walk in a circle around the news, and it looks like there's more of you. So anyone who's watching it has to like count the revolutions. Like, oh, the guy with the red scarf just went by, and then you count how many people go by before a guy in the red scarf comes back. And then I see it all the time. Like, oh, these guys know what's up. And you know who taught us that? While we were all standing out in front of the Cabildo, the reporter from the news. They're like, hey, y'all,
it'll look better if you.
Yeah, walk in a circle. Well, it makes you look like you got more. I'm like, all right, yeah, good idea. Come on, y'all, let's walk in a circle.
Brilliant. Everything is bullshit.
So, because Cannizzaro is maybe gonna run.
He's not gonna run from here. So these are definitely Cannizzaro, Williams, Peterson. Also, Desiree Charbonnet's name got thrown out there. They're not running. Those people are not running. The people that we like think might run.
LaToya. I'm gonna call it right now, LaToya. I think she's going to win.
I think she's probably going to win, too. But
so we both picked the same team to get to the Final Four.
That's exactly right. That doesn't mean it won't be fun to watch, but I kind of get the feeling that LaToya is the one to beat.
LaToya.
Yeah, and then it's not even an exclamation point. You would think there would have been... If you're getting a billboard, you have to put...
Because she ain't about all that fucking fanfare. Mm-hmm. She's here to take care of business. Mm-hmm. LaToya. That's how you say it.
I don't know.
LaToya. Wasn't it like black with white lettering? And it was sans serif font?
Blue with white, I think.
But it was a Helvetica black or Helvetica, huh? LaToya.
It's we'll talk more about this in the next couple months, I think. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun to have a mayoral race going on.
What else is going on? Let's talk about something lighter.
Okay, well, that's good.
Po' boys or something.
It's close to the end of the show anyway. I guess we should do something that would be kind of so-so-ish.
It's WrestleMania weekend.
This week?
WrestleMania is coming back to the Superdome next year, but for now, it's going to be in Orlando. It's still in the South. Mm-hmm. Go figure. But yeah, my Eskimo brother's brother is going to be fighting The Undertaker. Did you know my Eskimo brother's brother is a WWE superstar?
No, I don't think I did.
Yeah. A guy who one of my exes.
Okay.
Was the ex of one of the Samoans. Went by the name of Rosie. He was known as the Superhero in Training, which stood for shit. Superhero in Training. He was one half of the tag team 3 Minute Warning. And went to Escambia High School where all the Samoans that side of their family goes. Their family is known as the Samoan Dynasty because several of the Samoan like grapplers over the years, the Wild Samoans, Afa and Sika,
like Manti T'eo, and
perhaps he might be my Eskimo cousin or something. Okay. Anyways, a guy who dated a girl that I dated, his little brother is now wrestling in the WWE under the name Roman Reigns, and he's going to be fighting The Undertaker this Sunday. So I'm pulling for him. It's like my family. Basically, I am in the Samoan Dynasty because I am My Eskimo brother is one of them.
Doesn't the Undertaker always win? Or
He does always win. He lost a few years back right here in New Orleans at the Superdome. Another event there. The inauguration of George Bush and WrestleMania 30. And
interesting that you put those two things
Garrett
together.
Hartley's kick, which I watched that game recently also.
Okay.
There was a lot of... You know what happened during the 2006 Atlanta game? The opening the Superdome?
I know a lot of things
Reopening.
that happened there.
But you know something significant that happened?
What?
They ran a double reverse with Bush and Devery Henderson, and it scored a touchdown.
I know.
So why not try that fucking shit again? It was gold the first time. The problem was that people were bitching about Sean Payton and the unfortunate demise of this one man's grandmother is that he put his two most butterfingered players in the play. But it had already worked once before.
But this was
the season before.
Yeah, but this Tampa game you're talking about was when they were trying to they weren't trying to they were trying to run the clock out, and like they turned the ball over on a stupid double reverse. But
Well,
I do know
one of
that,
them happened and it worked.
I do know that the play you're talking about
Using
the Atlanta
the same
game,
dudes.
Yes. I have several fond memories of that Atlanta game. The
U2 performance?
No, that wasn't really my favorite.
Oh.
After the game, and the players are all together and they're like doing the prayer circle on the 50, you know, as they do
With Danny Werfel and all them?
Yeah, well, but the players who were on the roster at the time, the Saints and the Falcons, the Christians were doing their prayer.
Sure.
Like we're coming down at the stadiums and we look down at the field and Rosalind catches an eye at them praying and she goes, "What? No, don't pray with them. Don't pray with them." And just threw a fit for like it was already over. Everything had been decided. You know,
But still, I mean, the hate runs deep.
Yeah.
You know. Did we talk already about the Super Bowl and about how it was an earlier than now thing, and about how like newcomers were kind of pulling for the Falcons and where OG people were?
Yeah,
definitely,
I think we did talk
okay.
about that before.
They lost by they blew a 25-point lead. You know that, huh?
I heard about this.
I wonder how the Falcons are going to do next year.
Yeah,
they got something to prove.
Is either today or yesterday the Saints signed Raphael Bush. Remember Raphael Bush?
Yeah, he's back.
He's back.
Number 25.
Right. Well, can he get 25 back, or does he have to ask the Falcons for 25 back?
Is that what the joke that was going on Twitter today?
Wait, well, somebody put it up there today.
I wonder what they're going to do. They've got they could go either way with that, you know? They could come back and be like, fuck this. We're doing it. Or their franchise could enter some dark ages.
Well, they're getting their new stadium either way, so.
That's the worst example of building a new stadium, though, isn't it? Because I remember when the Georgia Dome, they were like, this is our new shit. And everyone's like, yeah. And goddamn. We need to find out what the quickest between built stadiums is before they built another one. That has to be Atlanta.
That's a perfect example of what we were talking about earlier. Yeah, I can't believe that they already needed a new stadium.
They did twice in a lifetime.
But Atlanta is so fucked up in so many ways.
It is.
And that's just that's a totally perfect Atlanta thing.
I don't know if I told this story before, but I was up there to see a Rolling Stones concert with Jeremy Hebert and his wife and a date, and a cop rolled up on us on a Segway. And it was like, "Hey, y'all." And I was like, "Oh, shit. Y'all finding everything all right? Y'all need any help?" And we were like, looking at this motherfucker like, "Yeah? Why?" "Oh, just seeing if y'all were all right." "All right." And he rolled off on his little Segway. And we were fucking wigged out by that shit, man. You did not just hospitality ranger our ass.
On a Segway.
On a Segway. With a little helmet.
Yeah, that's creepy. But, you know, Mitch's New Orleans is going that direction anyway.
No, it ain't.
What did I want to ask you about before we shut this down? You got shit going on this month. There's a lot of stuff happening. So,
yeah, I got French Quarter Festival. I got Jazz Festival. And then I got Festival.
What's Festival?
That's the Festival of Festivals.
Right?
It's a festival. All the festivals get together and they have a little booth at the festival. There's a Jazz Fest booth. There's a French Quarter Fest booth. There's a Crawfish Fest booth. There's a Fried Chicken Fest booth. There's a Taco Fest booth. There's a Daiquiri Fest booth. There's a Creole Tomato Fest booth. There's a Toilet Paper Fest booth.
Toilet paper.
All the fests have the fest. That's between French Quarter Fest and Jazz Fest. It's Fest.
We need to look forward to that.
It's good.
Today, people were asking if there are too many festivals.
There are.
Yeah. But they all got to go together. Like, it's all the same
Who gives a fuck about festivals? I remember as like a young person, like at 22, I would go to a festival and I would be like, this sucks. This is dumb.
I mean, if you just
There's never been a fest I've been to since then. I'm like, yay, whoa, let's go to the fest. They've all been stupid.
I mean, if you want an excuse to go outside and people watch and drink or whatever, you can do that any day.
Yeah, they are so much all the same.
Yeah, it's not like... I mean, if you go to French Quarter Festival, first of all, it's very crowded, but like you can go to any of the other ones and they're all the same. It's the same thing. It's the same festival.
Yep, same booths.
Same bands. It's all Amanda
Giacomo's
Shaw,
has
Amanda Shaw, and also Amanda Shaw every now and then will pop up. So
she does so a lot, and then
Bag of Donuts.
It's a terrible place to see music. You know, outside stage. I remember one year I was like trying to listen to. I forgot who the band was. It was the old girl who made a big deal of herself, Kristen Diable, and I was like kind of like 20 rows back, standing like on a boulder that was a puddle. It was a boulder like in an island of a puddle. And I had like both feet on it, and I was just had to leap out of it if I needed to go anywhere. And I had just seen her. Beautiful show. No, like, I'm sorry, 3 weeks later, I saw her. Beautiful show. It was me and like 9 other people at Siberia. And I was just like, if you want to see local music, it's way better to just see them at the venues they play at around town.
Yeah, just
rather than this.
Pick out the act you want to see. Go pay their tickets. Like go buy their show and go see their show. Right?
Yeah, most of the time at French Quarter Fest, back when I could actually enjoy the fest, now I have to work it. I would just go at Molly's. I would just go to Molly's and just get drunk there, and then watch like festival people come and go and stuff. And every now and then I'd venture out. But this is the first year I'm going to do it like having a gallery in the quarter. So I have no fucking idea what that's going to be like.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you that because this is obviously your busy season.
It is.
And
it is.
You are... So you're going to post up at the gallery? You're going to post up in the square? Or you have to decide what days you're going to do that? Or is it...
oh, God. You're going to stress me out if you start talking about this. I don't fucking know what I'm going to do.
Thinking ahead.
It's my first fucking year. So I don't know how everything's going to go or everything's going to be. And French Quarter Fest for Jackson Square Artists is always a complete... There's always 5 nervous breakdowns. Like artists just fall out and start crying and like roll around on the ground and stuff. It happens every year.
It's not good.
They yell at each other. There's all kinds of fights. It's a fucking chaos. And not every artist makes money. Like some people blank the entire time. Like it's rare to blank for even one day. But for whatever reason, there's something about that crowd. Like the artists who are hot make thousands of dollars, and the artists who are not, they don't make shit. Like zero. Like nothing sometimes. Or $100 or $500 for 12 days worth of work. So, and then that just builds up the resentment. You know, they just look at the other artists who are making the money, more and more money, and they'll bitch at them about stupid stuff. And
why is it their fault? Right.
Because it's human nature. You know, people just like, so it's a huge, just hearing the words French Quarter Fest used to like elicit a response in me. Now, not so much anymore. I do have the gallery, but I want to make as much money as I can selling that art, you know.
Jazz Fest is different than...
It is. I do really well for Jazz Fest. For whatever reason, my art, the way it looks, those guys really like it.
It appeals to those people.
French Quarter Fest is more of a... There's a certain type of crowd in town that I just call Big Dumb, which you can figure out pretty much the nature of this crowd. Like if you're selling water or huge ass beers, you're going to do real well with this crowd because there's just so many of them. Yeah. And there are certain artists that whose art those people buy, and then when that big dumb crowd is in town, they kick ass, and they will kick ass for French Quarter Fest as well. But it's just a fucking madhouse. I'm glad I got a gallery during it. I can always just bail and just depend on that for my money.
So this will be a learning experience for you, I guess is what I'm gathering. You're going to figure out.
Like every day is a learning experience, Jeff. Like when I walk outside every day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's about accepting that you know that you don't know. And
maybe we can fade in. He just typed it, huh? He didn't say it.
He typed it.
Damn,
yeah, I need to find him.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we've come full circle.
Yeah, I think so.
I knew that was Sidney before you even told me. That's great. It's like the other day on Twitter, a tour guide was describing an incident at a bar, and she didn't say which bar it was or anything like that. She just described the incident, and I was like, "That was Harry's, wasn't it?" And she was like, "Curiously enough, it was." I was like, "I know." I could just tell by the
You're
ambiance
a pro at this.
you described. I'm a pro at Harry's.
Yeah.
It's something to be next to a bar 3 days out of a week. You get to know the bar as it personally, as its being is. Mm-hmm. And Harry's is that bar.
Yeah.
Did you know that Pistol Pete Maravich's brother tends bar there during the week?
I do that. I know that now.
Pistol Ron, we call him.
Pistol Ron.
A dude had the nerve to call Ron the underachieving Maravich brother. And I was like, he's alive, isn't he? Does being alive fucking count for anything?
Do you know what Pete Maravich's last words were?
I feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of, all right.
That's great. He only had half a heart. His defect that killed him was that he was like missing a half his heart.
I didn't know it was that severe. I knew.
Well, I mean, like half a valve. He should not have lived at all very long, much less done what he did. But still, I would rather be Ron.
Sure.
Ron is alive. It matters. All right. Play that Sidney. Say them Sidney words again.
It's the Sidney words.
Let's see if I can conjure them. There's so much that is unknown in life, and you have to accept the side of yourself that embraces that some things can never be known and not fight it. Right?
Today I accept that part of myself that will never be satisfied, and I comfort and tame it. There is a place in me that knows it will never know, but I am beginning to feel that to accept and love this side of myself is what also gives life beauty and meaning. Perhaps meaning is not knowing and understanding, but an acceptance of the mystery and embracing of the unknown. After all, it is that mystery that gives even the most ordinary circumstance an eternal sort of glow, a sense of depth, a feeling that there is more. I accept that I will never fully understand. I embrace the mystery. The soul is restless and furious. Semicolon. Hashtag blessed. Hashtag gratitude. Hashtag appreciation.
Is that what story time at the library is like?
Could be.
Did I think just get a taste of it?
What we should do is invite guests onto the show to do dramatic readings of this and other Torres Facebook posts. I think we should probably make that a record.
We could do that with our phones.
Yeah,
if
absolutely.
we just carried it around and say, would you like to read Sidney Torres?
Just please give us your interpretation. That'll be our goal for the next couple weeks, is find people to do this for us.
One time at Jackson Square, I filmed about like 6 or 7 different artists doing tide goes in, tide goes out. Never a miscommunication. You can't explain that. One of my favorite O'Reillyisms. I can't decide whether I like that better than we'll do it live.
Yeah.
Fuck it, we'll do it live. To play us out. What does that mean? To end the show? Fuck it, we'll do it live.
And on that note, let's see if we can get somebody to end the show for us. Yeah, I think that's going to do it. I don't have anything else to add.
I have nothing else to add.
We'll try...
wait.
What's that?
Well, they're already going to know that 2 shows are coming out. That fucking Jeff is about to pull a Phil Collins at Live Aid over the next 2 days. He's doing 2 Freebird shows, one with me, one with Alli. What the fuck are you going to talk about tomorrow? We've talked about everything tonight.
No, you have to tune in for that, I guess.
Y'all got to turn it. Anyways, Jeff is like totally being a Phil Collins.
I'm going to try and get on the Concorde and fly over to Mid-City.
This must be the one in England then, the one we did tonight.
Definitely.
Okay, yeah. So Jeff's boarding the Concorde and flying over to Alli's. He's going to do 2 shows in 2 days because that's fucking what a baller he is.
Anyway, guys, thanks.
Oh.
What's that?
Think twice. It's It's just another day for you and me in paradise. Hey, did y'all see me do that interpretive dance? Wasn't that awesome?
Is that it? You got anything else? That's it.
No.
All right,
Only
guys.
22 of y'all viewed it. I can tell.
We'll put it in the show notes.
All right.
All right. Peace, everybody. Next time.